Hi there guys, today we're going to be talking about HTML and the basic markup tags. And before we start with the basic markup tags, we need to know that we have to have a positive file structure, something that I'm going to be recognizing and saving all my work in. So to start off with, I've actually opened up a folder, and inside my folder I have media and docs. Now these are going to be the areas that I'm going to be referring to when I'm going to be adding media or documents to my actual web page. You'll see that in media I've added pics, sound and vids so that I can actually go and stipulate exactly where I'm going to find what. Right, a little bit more now about the basic markup tags. You'll see that I've got a text file here. Please note that I can actually view the .txt at the end, which is needing to be seen, because if I go into my folder and search options and I go to view, you'll note that you might not have this hide extensions for known file types unticked. If it is ticked, you will end up not being able to see .txt. Alright, in this case here, I'll play around with that .txt. We just simply rename the file testing.txt to testing.html. So let's go about doing that. View, hide. So we want to untick that, apply, OK, and there we go. We can see the .txt again. Alright, you'll note that I need a basic HTML structure. And you guys will notice that I've got the HTML element open up in front of me. There are two tags here, and a start tag and an end tag. You'll note that I've got a / on my end tag, and we'll now start nesting all the other elements within our HTML web page. Currently, if I had to save this as an HTML format or extension, you'll note that there will be nothing shown in the actual body of the web page. Okay, so let's go about starting our structure. We're going to go ahead and start with a head. Remember, this is an open tag, and we'll also have a closing tag for head. This is very self-explanatory. You'll note that in my starting tag I'll have no /, yet in my ending tag I will have a /. You'll also note that the head is nested between the open and closing tag, or start and ending tag of HTML. Alright. Remember, like every web page would need a head and it would need a body. So we're going to do the same with the body. We're going to add an end tag for the body. Alright, and if I had to save this file structure, I still will have nothing display on my web page because I actually haven't added anything for the actual head or the body. Okay, in this case over here, we know that a typical thing nested within the head would be a title. So you could possibly guess what would fall inside here. The starting tag would be title, and I'll also have / title, a end tag. Alright. Within my body now, I will have paragraph set. This is the actual the fuller page, or the full area of the page that you'll experience. I'm going to be opening up paragraphs, and we also know that paragraphs have ending tags, opening and closing. Alright, we're going to put another one here. So you'll see that there are two paragraphs. Okay. Now, please note the way I structure my web page. You can do them next to each other. In this case, you could do title and then your end tag title right next to it, and whatever falls in between will then be displayed as your title. But I like keeping them one below the other, so that when I do scroll up and down between them, I can easily find exactly where I'm going to be editing what. In this case over here, you might have a very long title, or your paragraph might be very long, and if you have the end tag somewhere at the end of your very long paragraph, you might have to scroll to the side. Okay, just remember, I am using a basic notepad. You could use more advanced notepads, but I'm just going to do this for starters. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to just add a title, and I'm going to do that between the title area, the start and ending tags, and I'm going to put there, this is my title. Alright, so automatically this is something that is going to be displayed on my web page already. Okay, it falls within my structure. Remember, your elements used or your tags used are just there to provide you the structure. Alright, if I'm going to go to my body now, I'm going to go to my first paragraph, and remember, if you have a sentence or a couple of sentences, it'll be seen as a paragraph. So one sentence, one liners will also be seen as a paragraph. Alright, so let's go ahead. We're just going to go, this is my first paragraph. Alright, and then obviously you'll note that my second paragraph has got an opening and closing or starting and ending tag, and then I need to go ahead and close the body. Alright, there we go, opening, which is my start tag, and closing it with the end tag. Alright, so let's go have a look at how that gets displayed. I'm going to just close and say save, and I'm going to simply change the .txt to HTML. Press enter and it'll open up the web page. Alright, you might notice now that I've got the title right at the top there. It makes it easy for my search. If I had to type that into a search engine, this is my title. Alright, that area there now is displayed, and also you'll see my directory is displayed over here. Okay, this is my first paragraph, this is my second paragraph. Okay, so that was very, very basic. Let's close that down. Let's change this back to .txt. Note this little dialog box. If you change a file name extension, the file might become unusable. Are you sure you want to change it? Yes, we do. Okay, so we double click on our text document again, and you'll note that our paragraphs are still there, our structure is still here. Now what I would like to pay attention to is I'm just going to copy this into this area over here, into my first paragraph, and you might notice that in the actual text document, one line is below the other. Okay, there is going to be quite a bit of significance in this. Let's go see how this gets presented on the web page. Okay, save, change my text document to the HTML. Yes, we do want to change it, and we want to press enter. Okay, so in this case over here in my first paragraph, you'll note that this is my first paragraph. Alright, and then I have right next to it, this is my second paragraph. Yet in the text document I had these two lines below each other. Okay, so you'll notice that in my second paragraph I actually have it below my entire first paragraph. Okay, so that could also help you stipulate or split your paragraphs one below the other. Let's quickly go and change this a little bit. Go back to my text document. Right, and we now want to see, there it is there. You see that was one below the other, and yet when it was displayed, this line landed up right next to this one over here in my first paragraph. My second paragraph then was still below these two over here. Okay, so the thing that I also want to show guys is if I do have simple tags such as my line break, I'm going to be adding a line break into here. You'll notice that it's BR/, and I'm going to just save that and change this to my HTML. And you'll notice now that I have one below the other because I've added a line break in that first paragraph. Okay, you'll also note that there's a clear distance between the first paragraph and the second paragraph, rather than having a line break which simply just puts it straight below, and there's a lot less space difference between those two lines over there. Okay, alright, so let's go back to our text document. Okay, so the next one we would like to have a look at, horizontal rule. Okay, this is my first paragraph, this is my second paragraph, and I've had a line break in between. So I also want to include a horizontal rule. Let's say, for instance, we're going to be putting in a horizontal rule here. Note that line break, however, did not have an end tag. Okay, this is the only tag that we can get here. Okay, same with horizontal rule. Forward slash. Note that the forward slash comes after the HR, whereas your end tag would have one before. Okay. If I had to add a horizontal rule, let's go see what it displays. Okay, there's my horizontal rule right through there. You could also stipulate the size of the horizontal rule, okay, by simply adding width and stipulating whether you want it at a specific length or a specific percentage of the page. Alright, so let's go ahead and we're going to change this back to text documents. And we're going to add a width to the horizontal rule. Note that when I do add width to the horizontal rule, it'll have to equal, and I'd have to say 50%, for instance. That horizontal rule falls within my first paragraph. Okay, I'll have a line break, I'll have a horizontal rule, and 2 lines of writing. Okay, if you want to stipulate something a little bit, or make a little bit more obvious, you can just make them separated a little bit further in the actual coding, so you can actually see it more clearly. Okay, first paragraph contains all this information over here. Let's have a look at the horizontal rule that we've changed. And you'll note that I have only got 50% of the page, and it automatically centered the horizontal rule for me as well. Okay, that's 50% of the page, and that will cover horizontal rule. Okay, the next thing that I want to go and point out will be the fact that we can actually go ahead and change the text to bold or in italics. In this case here, my title also, or perhaps something in my paragraph that I'd like to go and change. I'm going to go to my second paragraph because I've edited my first paragraph enough. I'm going to go here and go and add bold, which is simple, B. Note that I'm actually, in this case here, I'm actually adding these two, and I've got my end tag in one line because they're obviously not taking up too much space. So you could do it like this, and I'd like to go ahead and let's make one of these lines italics. You can imagine what we'll be using here, hasn't it? An I and a closing tag for I. Okay, so straight away you'll see that my second line that I've had for italics, straight away put it as italics, and it also put my second paragraph as bold. Alright, that was pretty quick and easy. We now want to go ahead, let's change it back to .t, and we want to go ahead and go for changing over our headers. Alright, we're going to go make this a header. Let's say, for instance, our first line in that paragraph, we want to have a header. We obviously going to use the start tag H. I'm just going to copy and paste this and add the forward slash. And we can now stipulate the size of this header. If it's an H1, you'd have to close off with H1. And remember that H1 is obviously the biggest header. If I had to go and copy this again, and we'd like to add a line break, and I'll make this H, let's say 4 for instance, right? It'll still be a header, but it'll be a lot smaller, like a subheading or so. Alright, so let's go see what that would result as. Alright, there you can see the first. This is my first paragraph. It was rather the biggest heading that we can, the size, font size that we can use. Or then the next heading was, this is my first paragraph, size, header size is 4, and we had italics and we had bold. Horizontal rule of 50%. I think that we've also covered the title over here. We've basically covered all of the real basic makeup of your HTML web page. Guys, thank you for watching, and please stay tuned for a little bit more as we improve our knowledge on HTML. Thank you very much.